All right, so today we're gonna be painting our sky. If you are a friend at home, you need some sort of plate and you have your cups or containers. You should scoop out colors onto your plate without mixing, and any extra you need to close. So if you're at home, we will need the white later, but it's always good to have some extra that is going to be still in your container if you are at home. So at home has purple. If your class is not using purple, that's okay. We all have different colors. So if you are in class with me, you're gonna get this white paper. You need to write your name on whatever side you feel the back is, and your teacher. Then you will flip it over to the front, so you can no longer see your name. Once you've done that, we need to draw the horizon line. So we're going to draw a line about 2 inches from the bottom across the page. It's okay if this is a little dark because it's going to be painted in black later in there. Then we need the moon. So the moon is going to be how we create lights and darks. So if you remember from our exercise last week, or last time I saw you, the moon was white, then there is tints and shades that go outward. So we're going to draw these, the moon and the rings, very lightly, so that way we don't have any, or you won't see the pencil lines a lot. I'm gonna draw darker so that way you can see my pencil lines, but you should draw really light so that way you don't have to worry about having them show up as much. You can choose the right side or the left side. So I'm gonna choose the left side this time, and you're going to lightly sketch in the moon. If it's kind of dark, you can start by sketching it in like that. After that, you can create rings around. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings around. It depends on how many steps you want to do. And also, you don't have to fill in each ring with a different tint and shade. Honestly, I kind of see them as there to just guide. So make sure it goes all the way around. I like to do it even into the ocean, even though that's not part of the sky, so that way my curve looks natural. Once again, you're drawing so lightly that you can barely see it. I'm drawing mine a little bit darker so that you friends can see them on the video. Now, this is going to seem strange, but once you get your paint, I want you to paint in the moon just white. I know it's white paper, but you're gonna paint the moon in just white, so you might wanna make sure your brush is clean by wiping it on your paper towel first. So that way it has the texture. If it gets a little bit dirty, like if I get a tiny bit of purple in it, that's okay. The moon has craters, so you could even make texture with the paint. Now you don't really have to wash your brush at this point, but now we're gonna make steps of super light color until you get to the actual color itself. So you are going to add a dot of whatever hue color you have to your entire pile of white, making a very light tint of your hue color. If you need a little more, you can do that. Make sure you don't dip too much into the far side of your hue color, so that way your shades don't have extra white in it. So very light color will be the stripe around your moon. Then you will make a slightly darker color, a darker tint. You might have to only mix some of your white pile, but that's okay. It should look noticeably darker, but not too dark. It should be like the next step. Don't forget about the stripes over here, so that way it goes all the way around. Now, if I want to make more steps within one of my rings, I can do that. And if you feel like blending a little bit, you can get fancy in blending too. Just make sure it looks like it goes from light to dark. Okay, this next one, going to make darker with more purple. You want to make sure you mix enough for this whole big stripe that's above the ocean. If you have to paint over something, that's okay too. You can add white to it to make it a little lighter. And remember, those stripes are just kind of guidelines. I think my next one is just going to be straight purple. Maybe a little bit of white in it. Okay, so we have our tints. We get to the hue. The hue is the color. Now I'm gonna start to do the shade. Now with the white, you might have had to be kind of brave and like put a lot of the color into your white. Don't be brave with the black because it's going to take over very fast. So if you need to separate a little extra of your hue, you can do that. Because the black is the darker color, you're gonna add only a tiny bit into your hue. And this is gonna get kind of dark kind of fast. Not too bad. Add a little more. Add a little more. That was a lot more. Kind of looks purplish black. And if your last stripe has to be completely black, that's okay. Just still mix it with some of the color. Oops. Like that. Now, this needs to dry before we do anything else. So really look at it, decide if you need to go back and kind of make one of the steps a little different. Your horizon line, you should be able to see through your paint still. And make sure that if part of a loop is up here, that you don't forget that corner. If you're in class with me and your desk gets a little messy, we're gonna have wipes afterwards, so don't worry. All right, so if you're in class with me, remember you can put your paintbrush in the middle, close that, close this, raise your hand. I will come and get your paper for the drying rack.